Jack Warren was a man who had built his life from the ground up. At 52, he owned a chain of high-end restaurants, each one a reflection of his dream of bringing people together over a good meal. But Jack wasn't just a businessman. He prided himself on knowing the heart of his work. Or at least, that's what he thought. It had been years since Jack had worked in the day-to-day operations of his restaurants. His focus was on expansion and strategy, leaving the daily grind to his managers. But lately, he had been hearing whispers, complaints about morale, stories of staff turnover, and rumors that his flagship restaurant, Harvest Moon, wasn't the warm, family-like place he'd envisioned. Jack wanted answers, but he didn't want sugar-coated reports from his managers. He needed to see it for himself. One evening, Jack made an unusual decision. He would go undercover at Harvest Moon as a dishwasher. He wanted to see the restaurant through the eyes of his lowest-paid staff. He told only his assistant, Sarah, about his plan. With her help, he donned a pair of worn jeans, a plain t-shirt, and a fake name, Jim. On a busy Friday evening, Jack entered the kitchen through the back door, unnoticed by the staff bustling about. The head chef, Miguel, barely looked up when Sarah introduced Jim as the new dishwasher. Jack was handed a stained apron and led to a corner where a mountain of dirty dishes awaited. As Jack began scrubbing, he quickly realized how grueling the job was. The heat from the kitchen, the constant rush of new dishes, and the endless demands from the staff wore him down within hours. Yet what struck Jack most wasn't the physical labor. It was the way people treated him. Miguel barked orders at him without a glance of acknowledgement. Servers shoved plates toward him without so much as a thank you. But not everyone was like that. Midway through the night, a young waitress named Emily brought him a bottle of water. "You're doing great," she said softly. "I know this job can feel thankless." Jack was taken aback by her kindness. She was no older than 23, with tired eyes that hinted at a hard life, but she carried herself with grace. As the evening went on, Jack couldn't help but notice Emily again and again. She worked tirelessly, juggling demanding customers and an understaffed floor. During a brief lull, she leaned against the counter, rubbing her temples. Jack, still in his role as Jim, hesitated before speaking. "Rough night?" he asked. Emily smiled faintly. "They all are," she admitted, "but it pays the bills, mostly." Curious, Jack pressed gently. "Why not find something easier? This place seems tough." Emily hesitated, then shrugged. "Easier isn't always an option. My little brother Sam depends on me. It's just the two of us now." Her words hit Jack hard. She didn't elaborate, but the weight in her voice told him everything. Emily wasn't just working for herself. She was fighting to keep her family afloat. Later that night, Jack overheard a conversation that shook him even more. Miguel was speaking to another chef about how the management had cut back on server tips and increased workloads without any warnings. "They don't care about us," Miguel said bitterly, "as long as the boss makes his millions." Jack's heart sank. This wasn't the culture he wanted. How had things spiraled so far out of control? The following week, Jack continued his undercover work. Each day, he uncovered more about the lives of his employees. Miguel, despite his gruff demeanor, was supporting his aging parents. A dishwasher named Ahmed was working 2 jobs to send money back home to his family overseas. But it was Emily's story that haunted Jack the most. On his 3rd night, he found her sitting outside the restaurant, staring at her phone with tears in her eyes. He approached cautiously. "Is everything okay?" he asked. Emily looked up, startled, and quickly wiped her face. "Yeah, just life stuff." Jack didn't push, but Emily surprised him by continuing. "Sam's school just called. He got into trouble again. They say he's acting out, but they don't understand. He's just angry. He misses Mom and Dad." Her voice cracked, and she took a shaky breath. Jack felt an ache in his chest. He wanted to reveal who he was, to promise her help, but he held back. He needed to understand the full picture before making any promises. On his last night undercover, Jack arrived early and found the staff gathered in a quiet corner. Emily was speaking, her voice firm despite her exhaustion. "If we don't stand up for ourselves, nothing will change," she said. "We deserve better. fair wages, respect, a safe place to work. Jack realized they were organizing a meeting to address their grievances. His heart swelled with both pride and shame. He had failed these people, but they were fighting back. That night, Jack worked harder than ever, his mind racing with plans. As the evening wound down, he decided it was time to reveal the truth. The next morning, Jack called a staff meeting at Harvest Moon. The employees shuffled in, confused to see the dishwasher, Jim, standing at the front. When Jack removed his disguise, gasps filled the room. "I owe all of you an apology," he began. "I came here to see how my restaurant really operates, and what I found broke my heart. You deserve better, from me and from this company." He turned to Emily. "You reminded me why I started this business in the first place. Thank you for your courage." Jack announced immediate changes: better wages, reinstated tips, and a new employee support program. He also offered Emily a scholarship fund for her brother Sam and promised to personally mentor Miguel for a promotion. Over the next year, Harvest Moon became a model workplace. Employees were happier and the restaurant thrived. Jack visited often, no longer as Jim, but as a boss who truly cared. Emily's brother turned his life around with the help of the scholarship, and Miguel became the head chef of another restaurant in the chain. Jack learned that success wasn't just about profit. It was about people, and it was a lesson he would never forget. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.